Well, here we go with another project. This is a fairly ancient Craftsman. Let's see here, Craftsman. There we go. Edger. That, boy, I don't know how old this is. I'd guess it's maybe 10, 15 years old. And I probably should have replaced it a while ago, but there you go. Just blew the engine on it. Probably blew a rod. We may investigate that, but for right now, I pulled it off of there thinking that I'll just get rid of it. But then I realized, wait a minute, why can't we rebuild it? I'm inspired by so many of my other YouTube friends out there that rebuild stuff, so why not give it a go? So did a little research and came up with an idea that might work. So I'll show you what I'm up to. So let's review the plan here. We have a new engine, thank you from Harbor Freight, and possibly some pneumatic tires. I'm thinking about putting those on there. And I'm also intrigued by putting a swivel on this front. I don't know if those of you that use edgers know that it's really challenging when you've got a stationary wheel. You can't turn the thing very well. So I'm kind of looking at that idea, as well as the fact that being one wheel out in front here, this is pretty unstable. So I'm kind of thinking about putting two swivel wheels or just one swivel wheel more towards the middle like this. So what are these for? Well, I'm thinking two of these on the back clearly, and that gives it runs a little bit smoother. And then I might do two of these on the front and have them swivel instead of just one in the front. So first thing is, let's unbox this engine and make sure it fits. That whole pattern, this engine, may not go together. So there's the big reveal. Well, here we are, unboxed. There it is on the mower. Now this engine's a bit of an upgrade. This is 5.5 horsepower, and the original engine on there was 3 horsepower. So that's kind of nice. It's bigger than I needed, but that was the only one that I could get at Harbor Freight. It was a very good price. The bolt pattern seems to be close. I've got, I don't know if you can see under here, put a little extra light. You can see a bolt sticking through there, and there's a bolt back there that you can see, the shiny one, and there's another bolt right here coming through. So I've got 3 bolts through. Interestingly, it looks like it's crooked. Can you see right through in there? But the shaft is straight. So far so good. The shaft is centered and straight, and so that is good. We can bolt it on there, no problem. It just barely fits here. So it just misses that housing, although I can move that housing a little bit too. So now here's the challenge though, is that this is the control rod to raise it up and down. And you can see that that's, the muffler is in the way of that. So we have a challenge here, which we may overcome with an extender on here. So the other trick will be, can those tires go on there? And I think that given another shaft, I can get those tires on there. And there's a pulley down here. That's how this one works, is the pulley goes on like that, and then a belt does kind of a loop figure 8 kind of a thing, if you might. That's the way it was originally. So so far so good. And with this, with the pneumatic tires, with potentially putting a steering tire on it and having this larger engine upgrade, this represents $400 to $500, maybe even $600 edger, even though the mechanics of it aren't necessarily all that good. But so far so good. So we'll see if we can continue on. Here's what it looks like from this side. It's a little bigger, but it's actually not a bad fit. The engine is intended to be a replacement for rotary lawnmowers, kind that just have an engine sitting on top and the shaft comes straight through. So we'll see if we can soup this bad boy up and see where we get from there. So far so good. Well, here we are so far. So these didn't take long. These seem to bolt on just fine. I'm using a 5-inch shaft on them, so I had to drill that out just a little bit. And I'm going to put one up there. You can see that I've moved this to the outside. This used to span this, but I've just put a bolt in longer, and that'll just span out to there. This is leaning, but it'll straighten up, so this will be out of the way. So the only thing I'm really looking at is this control rod. Oops, gotta get my hand in here. This control rod may be not quite right, and I'll have to do a little adjustment on that, but that's not a big deal at all. So it's coming together nicely. I don't see any issues so far. I think I'm going to get a new pulley for down below for the shaft, and I need a bolt, but other than that, it's getting close. Now, this doesn't have the steerable one, so I'm going to put it together with the solid straight going tire and see how that does. Maybe the bigger tire will make it easier to turn. But we'll see. So it's coming together. Didn't take too long at all. Well, here's the souped up edger project. Next phase. Sorry I didn't film all of the little nuances, but it just took a lot of fiddling with the design to get it the way I wanted. So this is pretty much put together now. And I will show you what I've done here for the linkage. So the engine did fit on there, and it's pretty close. You can see the belt is a little looser than I'd like, but there's some other belts that might be a little tighter than that. So one of the things about this is that I kind of hate to have too much tension by having this spring pulled in, because it'll pull on the engine. So that might actually be just fine. So the linkage, what I ended up doing, you can see here, there's a lot of stuff going on here, but there's a main shaft here, and then that rotates off of here. And I'll show you what that looks like when the thing goes up and down. And then I've counterweighted them with these springs back here. And again, I'll show you why, and that's because the engine actually hangs over the edge, and so it puts a lot of the weight on the front. That makes it a little harder for this linkage to go up and down. So here's the linkage lever, and I'll try and do it from here so you can see it. So as I go up, it drops the edger down, and so now the edger will dig in. You can see where it'll dig in, and all that rotates around. So, and because it's counterweighted, I can do it very easily. It goes up and down. If I didn't counterweight it, that was so heavy it was hard to get the thing to go up and down, or do the springs on it. Maybe you can see better from under here when I go up and down. So I'll go up. Well, it doesn't show you much either. Try it from here. See how that looks. So there's the linkage arm. And when I'm going up, the linkage arm is moving like that, and it rotates around in there. So if I had a welder, I wouldn't have all of that weird U-shaped clamp stuff down there. I could have just welded these angles here onto this bar, but as it is, I put all those in there. So that's kind of it. Now, so I've got two wheels. You can see two wheels up front, which gives a great stability. Everything fits. It's pretty tight. I had to modify it a little bit, but all said and done, and this is where that weld broke, and I put this all back on. All said and done, I think that it's pretty close, and we'll take it out for a test drive. All right. So for those of you thinking of modifying your edger out there, I'd say yes, it's possible.
Took me quite a while to get the design right, but I like this design much better than what they had there originally. The original design, this front wheel was so wobbly that it was all over the place. But these are good and solid, so they won't wobble as I go around doing the edging. The other interesting side benefit is this engine's so big that I'm thinking I might be able to put an even thicker blade on here. I'm thinking of taking some old mower blades and cutting them down to size. I might be able to do some more bed dressing because we have a lot of pine islands around here. And that's got enough power to it that it might be able to do that kind of thing. And that would be nice. That would be sort of a combo edger bed dresser then, rather than just an edger. All right, well, next step is button it up and take it out and test it out. So here's the edger, for the most part all done. I've done a couple of tweaks since the last installment of this, well, since 2 seconds ago when I stopped this. I think I've talked to you about the fact that I used, for a blade, I've used an old lawn tractor blade, which is much thicker, which normally would be a problem for edgers like this, except that this engine is at least 1.5 horsepower, I think, more than what's on there normally. So my attempt was not only an edger, but it also helps to dress the edge on beds like this where there's pine straw, and it not only cuts a groove, but it kind of makes it wider. So it's not exactly the devices that they use to edge or to dress beds like this, but it does a pretty good job. It's very powerful. I haven't yet to bog the engine down. It really goes. And I think I showed you all the other tricks. This is the lever to release the brake on the engine, which would normally be part of, this is meant for a rotary lawnmower, and you have a handle you grip and it pulls that open so that you can run the mower. Well, I don't have that on this one, so I kind of retrofitted this so that it comes up here and just latches over the top, and now, oops, sorry, now the engine can run. So that takes the brake off and allows the engine to start up. So far so good. Let's see, what else can I tell you? I guess that's it. Let me show you it in action, and then you can make your own mind up whether you like the dragster look on this, or go ahead and make your comments. See if you want to say something about both the power and the look on this one. All right, so I just did a short chunk here to show you what it looks like. And if we look over here, you can see that it's gotten a nice deep cut on that. Now, it takes a while to go around the first part of the season, but it's certainly a lot easier than trying to shovel the whole thing. And then once it's cut, then it does a good job of running through that very nicely. So, very pleased with the outcome. And if you feel like making your own monster edger, there you go. That's kind of how I approached it. Again, a shout out to Harbor Freight for the engine and the wheels. I think both of these wheels. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and good luck with your projects. Bye.